Good afternoon, and I want to take this opportunity to make a couple of comments. I'm sure you all are aware of what happened today, and I just want to make a couple of comments about that. Earlier today, when I got information, and this has been over a period of time, quite frankly, I got information on some things that have happened in our police department. I thought Chief Evans, some of his decisions, I think, compromised his position as chief. And because of that, I've made the decision to replace him. Saul Green, who is our deputy mayor, responsible for our police department and public safety, is going to introduce to you all our new chief. So with that, I'd like to bring Saul up to introduce our chief. Saul.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor indicated, today the former Chief Evans, submitted his resignation. We believe in the good fortune to have somebody who has been a long-time professional, law enforcement professional, who has served this city for a long period of time and done an outstanding job in the Detroit Police Department, has been to the highest ranks, just short of chief. So we're in an enviable position, we believe, to be able to immediately turn to, again, an outstanding law enforcement professional to take over as interim chief of police, Ralph Godby. Ralph, would you like to make a statement?
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Bing for his confidence. This is a very difficult time for me. Last night when I went to sleep, I was Assistant Chief of Police. Today when I wake up, I'm the Interim Chief of Police. But very briefly, we've made some tremendous strides in the police department with a data-driven approach towards solving crime and suppressing criminal activity. Those things that we have done very successfully, we will continue to build upon. And it is very important also for the men and women of the Detroit Police Department to understand my commitment, as long as I serve in this role, to ensure that they have what's necessary to do the tremendous professional job they've been doing, and to understand our admiration for the work they do on a day-to-day basis. And another very important component is for the community to understand our commitment towards policing in a manner that's respectful, that is respectful of people's rights, and that we have a complete commitment to come into compliance with both of the federal consent decrees. Those are missions that the mayor has set forward. Those things will continue to march forward very vigorously, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that during this opportunity that I do what I can to earn the respect of the men and women of the Detroit Police Department, earn the respect of our citizens, and be there to provide leadership for a tremendous police department. So thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, would you discuss the decision-making process that Mr. Evans displayed, Chief Evans displayed, that dismayed you? And was this reality television show video the focal point of your decision to ask him to resign?
No, not really. It's a combination of a lot of things that we've been getting feedback, both internal and external, over a period of time. And we didn't want to make a knee-jerk decision. So Saul and I talked about it quite a bit, and we finally made a decision on last evening to make the change.
Did some of that feedback have to do with the relationship that Chief Evans had with a subordinate in his department?
I'm not really here to speak to his personal relationships. That his personal relationship is a personal relationship, so I'm not really interested in getting into that. But there were certain events that happened, certain decisions that were made over a period of time that led us to this decision.
Mayor, are you looking at other candidates?
The letter of resignation, basically, he submitted it when you asked him for it, right? I mean, and that was also, that's one part of the question. The other one, too, is about the video and the first 48. Was that part of it? Was that all part of the decisions that you thought were inappropriate?
Oh, it's a combination of a lot of different things that happen. So I don't think we can try to focus in on one thing or the other, but it was a combination of things that led us to this decision.
Mayor, are you looking at other candidates, or do you intend to make A.C. Godby the permanent chief?
I think we owe A.C. Godby the utmost of respect and give him the kind of support that he needs to succeed in this position. But I also think we owe it to the police department, we owe it to this administration, we owe it to the citizens of Detroit to get the very best person that we can get to lead our police department. So we will do a national search, but A.C. Godby will be part of that.
Mr. Mayor, did you have an opportunity at all to talk to Warren Evans about some of the things that have been under review over the last several months? Had there ever been discussions by you or Mr. Saul Green about these events that cause you concern?
Yes, we have.
And the reaction was it did not abate?
It was still a combination of things that happened over a period of time. I won't be very specific on that.
Mayor, just a few weeks ago, you said you actually had the chief take over with very high hopes, and it was a bit of a controversy then that you put him in place. What is your level of disappointment that we're here today with this decision?
I don't want to talk about the disappointment. I want to talk about what I think Ralph Godby brings to the table. Quite frankly, he's a guy that's been in the department, been here in the city of Detroit for 30-plus years or so. Very well respected within the department, very well respected in the community, and I feel very confident that he's going to do an outstanding job.
What would you tell the citizens about the transition? I mean, it will be smooth, like, what would you tell the citizens tonight?
Well, Ralph, I will let Ralph do that, quite frankly. I think he's been in the department in leadership roles for a long, long time. I think the department will be very excited about the opportunity to work for Ralph. I'm very happy that he's in this position, and I've gotten to know him quite well, respect him, and know that he will do an outstanding job.
Can you explain what's changed in the last few weeks? Just a few weeks ago, you came out and said that you were going to stand behind Warren Evans and keep him in that position, and now we find out different today. So just in the last few weeks, what changed?
It's not in the last few weeks. I've supported Warren and do think Warren made a positive impact on the police department. But I think he was compromised in some of the decisions that he's made that will lead him not to be able to lead his troops going down the road. So I want to make sure that we have the right person in that position from a leadership standpoint, and that person is Ralph Godby.
How many warnings was he given, Mayor, to...
No, I don't count Warren. I didn't count.
What decisions are you talking about exactly?
I won't be specific
Mayor,
on that.
not to belabor the point, but do you think the citizens of the city of Detroit have a right to know with a bit more specificity what led to this decision? We understand that there were events over a period of time. Anything that you can tell the citizens, and do you think they have a right to know?
I'm not ready to have that discussion at this point in time.
What does this do for the decree, the federal consent
the
decree?
chief was at city council today talking about the consent decree, so obviously, I don't know if he knew this morning that he wasn't going to be the chief. Did it just happen suddenly midday, or how did that play out?
It happened after Ralph was up at city council.
It was Warren Evans, I mean.
I'm sorry, with Warren, after he was up at city council. We waited until we had the opportunity to talk to him after that and made the decision to move forward.
What was his reaction? How
I wasn't there. I think Saul could answer that.
What was his reaction? Can you share it with us?
First of all, the discussion was short. The discussion was such that we noted that, in fact, there's been a lot of progress made with Warren Evans as chief, and we commented on that. He was, I would say, it's fair to say that he was disappointed.
Did he acknowledge any of the issues? I'm sorry, did he acknowledge any of the issues that you guys have found out about?
I did not go through a chronology with him, and so there was not a chance to acknowledge or to respond issue by issue. That did not occur.
Mr. Mayor, where does this leave the city in regard to the federal consent and this consent decree, how the city moves forward with that?
Well, I think we've made progress under Warren's leadership, and I have I think I should say that under Ralph, I feel that we will continue to make progress. So I don't see this as a negative at all, quite frankly.
I mean, the monitor is in town today. What has he expressed to the city about the progress on the consent decree?
I would say he's pleasantly surprised with the progress, never satisfied that he doesn't want to be here. He wants to get this behind us as much as we do. So we're working very collaboratively together to make sure that this happens in a decent amount of time. So I don't see this as a negative as it relates to the monitor at all.
Question
Have
for
you named
Chief
another
Godby.
assistant chief? Have you named another assistant chief, or will you do that?
Right now, Cheryl, it's really too premature. I mean, these events are unfolding as we speak. So I have to sit down with the command staff tomorrow and really circle back. But it's important to note that the progress that has been made under Chief Evans has been tremendous. And I'm acutely aware that if I go in just making change for the sake of change, it will disrupt some very great progress that we've made. So I'll be very deliberative in any moves I make, consulting with the deputy mayor. And please realize I'm the interim chief of police, and I'm very respectful of that process. I will lead, and I will lead unashamedly, but also I'm not going to be overly disruptive, understanding that there are some things that have been put in place and systems that are put in place that are working.
But you need to replace yourself in that position, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
somebody to come in.
Absolutely, and I will have a process for doing
Chief,
so.
are there any plans you can tell us about the gang enforcement in this city? There's been a lot of talk about the gang squad, the gang enforcement unit. Where do you see the future of that team?
So philosophically, there's some methodologies that I will take a look at that I may do slightly differently, because the enforcement is still a data-driven approach. The data will determine where we deploy our resources. That approach has been very successful. Which instrumentation we use, whether it be gang squad, traffic enforcement, those are tactical decisions, and we will review those going forward.
Mr. Mayor, is there a timeline to have a permanent chief in place?
No, there is not a timeline to have a permanent chief in place. Once again, I want to make sure that myself and Saul and this administration give Chief Godby all the support that we can so that he can be successful, because his success is our city's success. So we need all of you to give as much support as you possibly can, and in the coming days, I think a lot of decisions that he has to make will be unfolding, and hopefully you will be supportive of him in this administration. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Will there be any public the reason why